Hey, this is Kate from Daisy Nails, creating fun, funky and fabulous nails. I just had a moment of utter panic when I deleted the background music I have in here from my favourites on CapCut, and then I realised I still have the Kandinsky video on CapCut and I hadn't deleted that yet, which I usually do with all my videos, and so I was able to have a look on there, see what it was, and then search for it. So, relief. Anyway, so my Mani Collab group on Instagram are doing this month Endless Summer, and I thought, oh, Endless Summer, well, let's just go beach. So I'd also seen a design by Dorota Palika which had this sort of background but with sort of leaves and vines on it rather than palm trees, but I thought I'd put the two together. So the white and the black, as well as the base coat and the top coat, are all a brand that no longer exists, but I have them, so I use them on my videos. I'm making some squares using the base coat in the areas that I want to have the colour, which will all become clear in a short while, at some point in the next 17 minutes and 10 seconds, which is the length of the video. And a motorbike's going by. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can't hear myself while it's going past. So each of the nails, I did a slightly different design of the rectangles with the base coat. So before this, I'd painted the nails white, 2 coats of white, and I had then wiped it with some isopropyl alcohol and then buffed it so that it didn't have any tackiness left to it at all, so that I would be able to use the pigments onto the tacky layer on the base coat. And there are different ways you can do it. If you do it this way, you get a more intense colour. If you do it onto a shiny layer, you get a much subtler colour. So that's how I did it. Anyway, what should we witter about? It is very hot. I've made the mistake of bringing the eldest to their youth group without a drink. No, not eldest can get a drink in youth group. I'm the one without a drink. And I'm super hot sitting in the car. Obviously I've put the windows up when I'm doing the voiceover because during the summer the youths do not stay in the youth group and they all hang around in the car park. So yeah, hot, thirsty. So, you know, if it all goes quiet and you hear a crash as the phone falls, that's me going, ugh, crash, pass out. Anyway, obviously I've sped this up while I do the rest of these shapes. Some diagonal ones. I realised I didn't have any diagonals, so I chucked a diagonal in. Be rude not to, right? And there we go. I started using a makeup brush for this, but usually if I do this, I'll just keep cleaning it between times on a lint-free wipe. But in this instance, it got a bit of isopropyl alcohol on it, and then it all just started going very wrong. So I'm not sure if it was after this one or after a couple of them, I started using a lint-free wipe to actually put the colour on. Now, obviously, it did go a little bit over onto the white when I was putting it on, so that's different than free wipe, bit of isopropyl alcohol, just clean off the excess. It doesn't matter too much about making it perfect because I am going to outline these blocks. I'm constantly straightening it because the blue tack doesn't seem to stick if you put any amount of pressure on. So once I'd done the colours in them, I went over with the base coat. Again, like I said, this is a brand that no longer exists. It was a few years ago. I'd recently trained, I'd done research into what brand I was going to use. I went, this is the one, I like this one. Started buying them and they promptly went out of business. At which point I had a base, a glossy top coat, a matte top coat, a red, a black and a white. There's not a great deal you can do with that. So I just sort of abandoned those and started doing a different one, which was Madame Glam, in actual fact. And I'm still using Madame Glam sometimes. I must say, I've got Madame Glam's new Builder Gel in a pot on my nails at the moment. And they're really good. It was the smoothest to go on. There was just no effort in it whatsoever to put it onto my nails. And well, let's put it this way, at the moment I've got a lot of, in fact it's that one in the video at the moment, I'm still wearing those ones, but they've got a lot of growth now, and just still absolutely solid, doing really well. So I really like their new builder gel in a pot. I'm going to have to replace these soon. I've got a good 3mm of growth. That's a small section of an inch if you don't do millimetres. Okay, so base coating them all. The base coat with that particular brand was really good as well. It was super thick. So if you had any sort of ridges, any dimples, any lumps or bumps, it would just settle it all. So you ended up with a smooth layer if you went over the top of anything like this. And the top coat's the same. My favourite top coat I've ever found, and I can't find another one as good. Hey ho. So they all went in the lamp for a full cure, which in this case was a minute. It depends on your brand that you use. And if you use Madame Glam, the new ones are a minute, the older ones are 30 seconds. I just put them all in for a minute. Right, so using Crystal Nails Long Zero brush, I picked up the black and outline. Now I didn't want this to be like a perfect outline, sort of, but I don't want it to be messy. I just wanted it to be, well, casual. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. So yeah, just using the length of the brush to keep those lines as straight as possible. I'm doing that on all of the nails, and then again into the lamp for a minute for this particular brand once it's been painted on. And obviously cleaning little bits here and there, as you do. On some of them, where the colour had gone onto the white, it stained it a little bit. It was a bit hard to tell where the black line went, but I just went with what I figured looked best. And I didn't mind if there was a little bit of colour over. I thought it looked quite nice to sort of have the juxtaposition between the solid black line, but then the blended colour a little bit below it. My eldest has done a nail design for me to try. Their passion at the moment is prehistoric life, and they suggested I do some nails based on prehistoric art. So they've designed a set of nails for me to try, so hopefully I'll get to do those soon. Still not feeling very well, so when I did these I was a little bit shaky. Not massively shaky, but a little bit shaky. Okay, so once they've been in the lamp for the minute to cure the border, again using the same brush, just bringing a nice gently curved line down. On some of them there was one, on some of them there were two. These are the trunks of the palm trees. And then just widen it a little bit extra at the bottom where it would be going into the ground. Then into the lamp. You can do a flash cure or you could do a full cure. Doesn't really matter because you're not going to be putting anything over the trunk itself. So the choices of colour for the background were based on colours at dawn, colours at sunset, colours in the middle of the day. It really was a sort of trying to encompass all of those kind of sky colours that you might get, as long as it's not a grey rainy sky. I didn't incorporate those, even though today, although it's very hot and humid, it's not had any blue sky at all, it's all been grey. Right, using the same brush again, we're going to bring the centre of the palm leaves. So it's a random thing. It's a not thinking too hard about it thing. just bringing those down where there's space. As a general rule in my experience, if you're doing something in nature, do an odd number. I don't know why, it just looks more aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, I then used my Nyo Nails, one of my 000 brushes. I think it's my long one. No, it's not actually, it's my 00 medium length. And I just put a tiny bit of the black onto there. Most of it I brushed off, and it was using the black that came from the middle of the leaves just to pull out some fronds. Now remember gravity, so you want them to be pointing down as much as possible, but also it's not limp, so it's not just going to hang down, it's going to come down in a bit of a curve. And the ones on the top, don't make them stick up too much, just sort of do that coming out more in a horizontal way, but with a little curve bringing them down. Because I wasn't feeling very well, I ended up doing this at my kitchen table, so I wasn't in my usual position. I kept having to remind myself to get back under the camera. It just wasn't all set up the way it usually was, and I figured out how to make it so that it all just works and I can just sit there and paint now. But because it was slightly different, I did go out of shot quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but every so often I had to remind myself to check. Right, so if there were 2 trees, I would do one of them first and cure it, so that if the other one had to go across it, it wouldn't cause any bleeding of the fronds. The other thing I did was I did all of the bottom fronds first before I did the top ones, just so I could see what space there was to put the top ones in afterwards. Because if you have too much covering over the rest of it, it does just start looking a bit messy. Does that make sense? Like the fronds that are coming from the bottom side of the centre of the leaf. You know what I mean, or at least I know what I mean. That's the important thing, right? So you see those doing all the bottom ones there first. And then seeing where there's space. Now this one, because it was more of a windmill shape to the leaves, there was a lot of space to do those top fronds. Once they were all done, they went into the lamp for another 60 seconds. And I was looking at them and I was thinking, do they need something more? I'm not really into crystals. Nothing against them. Personally, I don't wear them, so it doesn't cross my mind to put them on. A nail design, other clients may ask for crystals, and absolutely, by all means, we'll chuck some crystals on there. It doesn't usually cross my mind. And I was looking at it thinking, does it need something else? And I decided not to do anything else to it, because I couldn't think of what else to do, other than possibly a bit of sparkle somewhere, but, you know, you can end up doing too much. There we go, out of shot. Just have a look in the camera, you'll notice, and pull it back down into shot. No, I haven't noticed on that one, have I? I did on most of them. There we go, I think that was probably accidental. And once they were all painted, I don't know if they are yet, so there seems to be one missing, doesn't there? What am I faffing with? Ah, there we go, I've just got, oh, that's right, because I cured that one, because I thought the fronds may end up going near each other, like I was saying before. This one's actually my favourite, I think. Or is it the second one from the left on the palette as we're looking at it? It could be that one as well. Which is your favourite? Let me know in the comments. Be interested to see what your favourites are. and why. Right, so once I'd done that, I went over with the top coat. Like I said, this is a lovely super thick top coat. Again, like the base coat, if you've got lumps and bumps, it just covers them up. There aren't actually very many lumps and bumps on this. It was all quite sort of almost single layer. Top coat them all, pop them in the lamp for the required time, which again in this case was 1 minute. There he is, he was just in the lamp, curing his little leaves, his fronds, whatever they are. There we go. And then they've all been cured. And let's put them out to view. When I was laying them out, I tried not to get any of the similar colour next to each other. There we go. Which is your favourite? I think mine is, oh, I can't decide. It's between those two, the middle one and the one next to it on the right hand side. Those are my two favourites. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think I would like to be there now instead of sitting in the middle of this town centre in this car park in this heat and humidity and melting. I'm melting! I think I'm losing the plot as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, come and see all my videos. I'd love to see you again. Bye!